My name is Alex Hillman. I'm the co-founder of Indy Hall, which is a co-working space in Philadelphia. I was a freelance web developer who was working in a full-time job but working part-time at home. And when I left my full-time job to go full-time working from home, I loved having my freedom, flexibility to choose what I worked on and who I worked with. But I missed having coworkers, missed having people to be around, to bounce ideas off of, and not just during the workday, but in general, sort of the culture of having colleagues to push each other and challenge each other, and people to socialize with and go to the bar afterwards with, and things like that. And so in late 2006, learned about co-working, and instead of sort of diving into let's open an office, I actually had no idea how to open an office. So I said, well, the part that I really want is co-workers. So let me go figure out who those people might be. And over the course of several months, worked to meet everyone that I could, basically to find those co-workers that I didn't have, not with the intention of hiring them, but with the intention of finding ways to be around each other and going to happy hours and meet-up events and lectures and basically any excuse we can come up with to be around each other, which also included some early casual co-working events where we'd go to instead of going to a cafe by ourselves and use the Wi-Fi, we would go and coordinate and be there with a handful of people, and that sort of paved the way to us realizing that working together, even when we were independent, was better than working alone. And along the way, met my business partner, Jeff DeMasi, who, while he did not need an office, was super interested in the notion of this community was growing, we should have a clubhouse, and sort of that being sort of the apex of our sort of collective vision. We worked with that community of people that we had sort of built along the way and collaborated to open our first office back in August of 2007. Sort of been growing ever since. I mean, Indy Hall's in a constant state of change, so I couldn't even tell you what has changed since. It's in perpetual beta, and the reason for that is not because we got something wrong and we needed to change it. It's because there's constant contribution from the members to adjust and tweak and mold and make it not just better, but make it their own. I think that's one of the big differentiators between Indy Hall and many other collaborative workspaces. Is it's not just about coming together to work at the space, it's also coming together to work on the space and collaborate on making the place a better version of what we want it to be at that time. So that's been everything from desk layouts to different furniture, better equipment, improving the network. Our last version of our website was collaboratively built by members. So I mean, you can look at every facet of our ecosystem and it's evolved. But I think the important part is not just that it's changed; it's that it was changed largely by the members. We were one of the first in the country. There was co-working spaces before us. We were definitely the first in Philadelphia, but the ones before us were generally a bolt-on to another business. So it was an agency that sort of rented more space than it needed and decided to open up some of that workspace as dedicated co-working space for free, sort of as a gift to the community. Say, we want to be surrounded by cool, interesting, smart people. Come work here for free because it's a mutual benefit. It wasn't a sustainable business in its own. Another common model was like a co-op, where the number of people that were there share, divide cost of resources by the number of people. Add another person, goes down a little bit for everybody. Take away a person, it goes up for everybody. And we didn't like that because it meant that the community would sort of, if the community fluxed, it would create strain on the individuals. So we wanted to create a sustainable model that would allow a business to be supported by the community members, but in a way that allowed the community members to focus on what they wanted to be there for, rather than having to stress about divided operations and things like that. Also knowing that if the community were to outgrow the space that they were in, that they would have the capability of sort of maturing into another space as they continue to grow, which is exactly how it's gone.